All right, everybody, welcome into the high noon edition of Pugs&Company, heard each and every day, Monday through, Monday through Friday at noon. We also do a Pillow Talk edition if you're so inclined. We rally back here after a 8-hour break, and we do a show at 10 o'clock. That's a little bit more light, a little bit more fast, a little bit more loose, a little bit more silly. Now, if you're familiar with this show, the High Noon broadcast, then of course you know that this is about what's topic driven. You know, what's happening. What are people talking about today? What's trending? I call the absolute best from all the different platforms that are out there, and we talk about it here. Don't want you to be misinformed. Well, actually, I don't care if you're misinformed. I'm just telling you what people are talking about. My opinions are solely those of myself, not necessarily representative of the people at Radio Misfits or my friend here who joins me every day at this time. He is, of course, known at night as Sunglasses. He's with us today. He is E the Artist. Hey, E, what's happening?
Hey, just watching this breaking news.
That's right. We've got breaking news as we hit the air live here. Of course, no show in America has been more diligent in their endless and tireless coverage, feckless too, of Brian Laundrie. We do have some breaking news, although it's not.
You'll see me lately on the evening news, 'cause everybody is looking for some clues. People all up in my views, they want Brian Laundrie.
Is it actually breaking news, though? I mean, or are we just being slow-rolled into getting back involved in this story? Because I've been following this now for about 90 minutes. I don't know that there's really... Tell people what you're seeing. Brian Laundrie, there are developments occurring right now at the Carlton Reserve in Sarasota, Florida, I guess I'm looking at.
No, Northport, Florida.
The helicopter shot I'm looking at has it listed as Sarasota. Maybe they're close. I don't know.
Yeah, it says Northport, Florida, but essentially what happened is about 90 minutes ago, they reported that some of Brian Laundrie's belongings were found at the Carlton Reserve.
Yeah.
And now, interestingly, the coroner has arrived on the scene. Matter of fact, it's two different coroners, according to Fox News and Phil Keating. And so I think that in itself is a little bit more possibly than just belongings being found.
Yeah. The other part of this story that I find most interesting is the fact that Brian Laundrie's parents were brought to the reserve early this morning by the FBI and federal and U.S. Marshals. The story given at the time was that they were going to help look for him, but if they had discovered remains or if they had found things that they believe belonged to Brian Laundrie, then you might need the parents to say, yeah, that's his watch. Yeah, that's it. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So here's what we have. This, all of this, by the way, CNN is getting on it now. They just jumped on the story. But Brian Enton, who is a reporter down there in Florida, who I've been following since this whole thing began, has been on it since early this morning. His first tweet of the day regarding this came 5 hours ago, and he was reported that the family of Brian Laundrie had been led out of their home and not in cuffs, not the way we want it to go down, but they were taken by FBI and U.S. Marshals. They were followed. Turns out they were going to this area in the Carlton Reserve. Then about an hour later, he reported that belongings believed to be of Brian Laundrie's were found. But then, like, an hour went by, and his next tweet was, there are the county coroner has shown up. Now, you don't send the county coroner out because you found a watch, right? I mean,
I don't know. I've been trying to I've been wrestling with my mind with that. Do you maybe send the coroner out because you found belongings? And if the person was deceased, but the body wasn't there, would there be some trace evidence possibly on those belongings? Like,
Yeah, maybe. I mean, but is that the job of a detective to say? I mean, I think a coroner comes out when there's a body, and here's something else.
And I'm with you there. I mean, it sounds like it would be the normal job for the coroner to come out, but I mean, if you're looking for remains or you think you found possibly clothing from somebody that you think possibly is deceased,
Yeah.
do you maybe not touch that clothing or touch those items because you don't want to lose that trace evidence? So that's why you bring out a coroner, or that's why you bring
Well,
out somebody with forensics?
I understand your train of thought here, but I think that's why you and me don't touch those items. The detectives are the ones who are allowed to, they know the procedures. They know how to preserve evidence. Well, at least you hope that they do. Here, let me direct your attention here to the screen. You see what we're looking at here? This is what I find to be the most interesting aspect of what's happening right now at Carlton Reserve in Florida. They found some items they believe belong to Brian Laundrie. They brought the family out early this morning. The family went back to the house. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't know that the family went back to the house. The family might be, who knows where the family is. Then a coroner showed up, which suggests that some remains were found. And then they did this. See what they're doing there? That's a tent. They erected a big tent under over what is believed to be the site where all of these things were found. They do that when there's a body. That is for privacy reasons. They do that when there is something. Coroner tenting. I think we might have something here. We might. I don't know what. Look, we've been down this road a couple of times, right? I mean, who knows where this story is going? But boy, there's a lot of stuff going on here right now that is suggestive that this isn't just another dead end.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting to see this all unfold as we're sitting here watching it. I mean, it started out with belongings, and for belongings, there certainly seems to be a bunch of people rallying to the site, which is leading me to think that there's more than just belongings now.
Yeah, I mean, so once again,
And they've got a coroner. Fox is putting this coroner on that is pretty good, Dr. Michael Baden.
The other thing that we know is that the attorney representing the Laundrie family, Steve Bertolino, confirmed that while searching areas that Brian frequented, some quote articles belonging to Brian.
And their attorney has confirmed that those items.
We can hear it. Just let's
Okay.
listen.
Takeaway so far is the fact that the coroner's been called on site, that they're obviously examining a body.
Better.
Right, and as you say, because the family was called, that it's most probably Brian, especially since they made that decision already just by the death. DNA takes some time. Fingerprints may take a little bit of time. Fingerprints can be but the fingerprints may not be in good shape after 5 weeks in bad weather. The teeth stay perfect. They're the best way to make a quick identification right at the scene, because the police and ID people have already gotten information as to his dental from his dentist, just in case they found the remains, and they would probably be able to confirm that very sometime today, probably.
Okay, so
this might be a question more geared toward law enforcement than.
All right, so they found belongings that they now are confirming through the attorney of the Laundrie family.
He's been dead for a long time.
Yeah, can you turn that down?
That he didn't just
a little loud. We got it.
Yeah, I mean, he basically said that they don't call the coroner out unless there's a body.
No, they don't. Yeah, and they don't put the tent up unless there's a body. I mean, unless they're doing something else. But in this case, all the signs. So you got belongings. Belongings have now been confirmed by the Laundrie family as belonging to Brian. You've got the family being taken out there early this morning. You've got the coroner showing up shortly thereafter. You've got a tent that's been erected over the site where we believe these have been found. The next thing that we need to listen for happening in the next hour or so is an announcement of a press conference. If there is an announcement of a press conference by the authorities in this area, then we know they've got something to say. And if they've got something to say at this point after all of this, it's not going to be, we were wrong. They don't hold press conferences to say they were wrong and that this was nothing. So now we've got to wait and see if there's going to be a press conference. Where's Dog the Bounty Hunter involved in all of this? Did he get this done? Is he? No. Oh, he's nursing a bum ankle up there in Colorado, right? He sprained his ankle and that doesn't look good for Dog, does it? It is happening blocks away from where the kid lived. And Dog he was on an island. Remember that? Dog had him pinned down on an island. Dog
I mean, I was suspicious when they said they found items belonging to Brian because his parents were brought to the reserve a few days ago and they were helping with the search.
Yeah.
And so I thought, Dad, kind of wants to throw people off the trail. He maybe drops some items there. And then later on, he goes back and he finds the items he dropped in order to really throw him off the scent if the kid is on the run. But this is starting to unravel my theory. Because this Dr. Michael Baden guy, he's generally, when I've watched him, seems to be pretty spot on with his assessments. And so he's saying that's not where a coroner goes if there's no body.
CNN is reporting now, and I'll see your Dr. Bader, and I will raise you.
Baden.
I will see your Dr. Aiden, and I will raise you FBI Special Agent Bobby Chacon, who is talking on CNN, and they are reporting that cadaver dogs are on the scene, which almost completely confirms that they found remains of some kind. You don't bring out the cadaver dogs if there aren't remains. You bring out although maybe you're looking for more remains. Maybe they found a bone, and now they're looking for the rest of it. I don't know. Bobby Chacon, and who's the other guy? Oh, look at that. And CNN's got Andrew McCabe. Andrew McCabe, the much maligned Andrew McCabe from the old. Remember Andrew McCabe? Remember his story?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the FBI director after Comey, I guess.
Now we're getting a shot of Laundrie's house. The Mustang's in the driveway. The red truck's in the driveway. Camper's in the driveway.
Yeah. Well, I think this is probably going to unfold as we do the show. But right now, this is all we have. We don't really have anything more, right? I mean, at any moment, though, we could have the breaking news. But for now, this will conclude our coverage of the Brian Laundrie situation. Once again, they found items belonging to Brian, confirmed by the family attorney. There is a suspicion that they found remains, as coroners are there, cadaver dogs, mobile units. Yeah, we'll find out today. All right, there we go.
The amount of resources this has taken up is just astounding.
Something's happening, man. This is the most movement that we have seen in the Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie situation in quite some time. So, that's good. That's good. I just said yesterday that we're never going to find them. We're never going to find anything. We're going to get no satisfaction. This is going to be a Whitey Bulger situation where dude's going to be missing for 30 years. And then someday, when we're like 90, we're going to look at a People magazine or a People holograph. I don't know. And probably won't have magazines when we're 90. But we're going to look at whatever they have, and it's going to say Brian Laundrie. And we old people are going to be the only ones to go, I remember Brian. I remember that. Just like the Whitey Bulger thing. Everybody forgot about Whitey Bulger. And then, his girlfriend went for a haircut. And
what if they rolled up on a campsite that was his and they found some of his belongings, and then the person that's there is not him, it's somebody else? Then we got a crazy killer on the loose.
Yeah, stop it. just stop it, okay? I don't. Same one responsible for the lesbians now working the Florida area.
Well,
is that what you're suggesting?
We still don't have an answer on the lesbians.
Well, this is good. This is good, and you've got the big garage door size TV just off to your left, so you can keep monitoring for us. And if anything new seems to pop up,
what's weird is Fox News is not giving me the shot of the area with the tent, which I would think that they would be honed in on that.
Yeah.
Or
CNN
buy
is.
a stream.
Fox may not have a helicopter up, but CNN's
Well,
using.
they got a drone up.
Yeah, I guess you don't need a helicopter these days. All you need is a drone. So, medical examiner cadaver dog at park where laundry's items were found. That's what we're getting right now. The T. Mabry Carlton Jr. Memorial Reserve. Get the name right. There you have it. All right, how about your moment of joy? We like to start each and every show out with a moment of joy, something that just put us in good spirits. I mean, if the idea that maybe there'll be some conclusion to the Brian Laundrie situation isn't enough for you, we've got this one. Now, this, I don't even know how to set this up, but I think I need to set this up. All right, so we've seen this before. You know how a dad comes back from military service and surprises his kid, and his kid is, we've seen these beautiful moments before, right?
Yeah, kid has no idea the dad's back.
Yeah. So that's basically what's going on here. Except this is a really clever and really cool way that they did this. So dad comes back from a 1-year deployment. The son has no idea that the dad is coming back. This is, boy, I tell you, if you're a boy dad, if you do this, is just going to tug at your heartstrings and make you have a little bit of faith for the next few hours of today, at least. I don't know if it'll carry on through the rest of the week, but it'll make you feel good, and that's what we do here with this moment of joy. So here you go, a football game. The captains of the team come out to meet the, you know how they do this. Let's watch what happens. We're going to do the coin flip. The captains of each team come out. The referees explain the rules briefly. And
all officials come in. We need to tell these guys how we need to get them to act right. So you make sure you get all officials' faces down, know them good. You know, to your captains, you look them over and you
Wow, that's cool.
Isn't that awesome?
Finally, dude. Finally.
Listen to what the head referee says. Nice.
thank you for letting us be a part of it. We're not good.
How about that?
Yeah, you finally got a moment of joy right. It's been a few weeks since you did that.
Oh, yeah?
Good. Yeah.
Okay, well, you hold that thought for me, because we've got 2 moments of joy today. You may not agree.
Normally, lately, your moments of joy have been at someone else's expense. They've been Pugs' moments of laughing.
That was nice. And what I thought was really nice about it was I thought that it was cool that the head referee had the presence of mind to say, I want to thank you both for allowing us to be a part of this. That was sweet. That's a guy with a good heart who actually thinks about, and is in the moment.
I wonder if the dad was actually a ref.
No, he wasn't. It was
okay.
There's a whole thread that tells the story. No, he just, the dad, actually it was the mom's idea. And she called the school and they said, well, you'd have to talk to the state refereeing thing. And she got in touch with the other referees and they went out and they got a uniform of referees. They did a lot of work on this. I mean, that's really great. I just hope that kid, who, by the way, it looked like the biggest baller out there. Did you notice that?
Yeah, he was certainly tall. Looked a lot taller than the rest.
I hope he had a good game. All right, so here, let me pull this up now. We'll get rid of that. We don't need that no more. What is this? No. Sorry, folks. We just have when you're doing it all by yourself, folks, sometimes it takes a little bit of the magic away. All right, so here's our second moment of joy. I wanted to share this. This is a tweet. This is a tweet that I read, and I just want to read you these beautiful words, okay? Just let this resonate. Live for peace and all that's good. Help those in your neighborhood. Feed the hungry, love the poor, share your wealth, and so much more. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes. It is. I'm sorry, I had my mic off. I'm trying to do 2 things.
That is beautiful. I mean, that is obviously someone. I'm going to read it again for you, folks. Live for peace and all that's good. Help those in your neighborhood. Feed the hungry, love the poor, share your wealth, and so much more. That was That was tweeted out today by America's favorite failed presidential assassin, Mr. John Hinckley.
Oh my, your obsession with this Hinckley guy.
I am. A little. John Hinckley is now, he's trending today. That's why I brought it up.
So he tweeted this out, and it's actually the lyrics to one of his songs?
Yes, it is. Yeah. All right. So, folks, if you weren't with us last night, we dug deep into the catalog of one John Hinckley, America's favorite failed presidential assassin. John Hinckley was released a couple of weeks ago, and he released. I know, just don't get hung up on that. I can't understand it myself. But John Hinckley was released, and now he's got a Spotify account. He announced yesterday that he's on Twitter. That's why he was trending today, because he's on Twitter. And he's tweeting out these beautiful words of inspiration. Once again, live for peace and all that's good. Help those in your neighborhood. Feed the hungry. Love the poor. Share your wealth, and so much more. Those are lyrics from the new John Hinckley album. It's not an album. He's, anybody can upload their music to Spotify. But here he is. This is what John Hinckley's music sounds like.
Roses and lace, they are meant for you. May all your dreams be wonderful each and every night. And may you walk in righteousness and always do what's right. This can be the start of something new. Roses and lace, they are meant for you. May everyone be on your side at each and every turn. And may you have the smoothest ride. Receive what you have earned.
One more time with the chorus. Here we go. Catchy as hell, John.
Roses and lace, they are meant for you.
All right, there you go. Do you know that last night, after we played that song like 15 times, it was stuck in my head? It was an earworm that was killing me. I'm laying in bed going, this could be the start of something new.
I just can't help but thinking of like pulling out the guitar at the parole hearing.
Peace be with you every day.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I just hear him like he pulls it out and he's like, this could be the start
of something new. I'm going to play
then he's like outside of Jodie Foster's window serenading her.
I'm going to play this song into the ground. I have a long and storied history of taking credit for breaking hits in this country. I ever tell you about how I made Sheryl Crow's career? Yeah, I probably have. I've told the story a lot of times. So I'll tell it again. Okay, so this was when Sheryl Crow put out Tuesday Night Music Club. Now, I happen to have been a producer of a morning show at the biggest station in town. It was a syndicated morning show. It was all over the Midwest. We had a lot of reach and a lot of power. Sheryl Crow's record company was pushing a song called Leaving Las Vegas as the first single off Tuesday Night's Music Club. And Leaving Las Vegas was not doing well. It was being played on one station in the market of Chicago at the time, which was the alternative rock station. And it was a middling hit. I went to a college party over the weekend where somebody was playing the album. And they played this one song off the album, which wasn't the hit. And I noticed that all the chicks were going nuts when they played this song like four. It's not probably the case anymore. But back in the days when albums meant something and there was a new disc out and you went to a party and there was like a real banger on the disc, you might hear it 3 or 4 times at the party, and everybody would go, oh, I love this song, because people get excited when they hear a new song.
Right.
So I came back and we used to do this thing, New Music Monday. And my host, Kevin Matthews, he said, well, what do you got? And I go, and I told the story about how all these chicks went nuts when the song was played. And it was All I Want to Do. Sheryl Crow, All I Want to Do. And that was not getting pushed by the record company. Nobody was playing it because they were pushing Leaving Las Vegas, which was another song off that. And they were about to bail on that album. They were going to move on to whatever, Meredith Brooks or, whoever, whatever, Dido, whatever other, cute little alternative music chanteuse was available at the time. But we played that song. My host loved it. He was like, that's a great song. We started playing it like 5-6 times a day. Then the alternative station in town, because we were the #1 morning show, they started playing that song because it was getting really big numbers in Chicago. Then all of a sudden you had XRT playing it, and then boom, it explodes. And even Sheryl Crow herself says that it was because of airplay in Chicago that album was given a second chance. That's me.
All right.
The kid that was at the college party who heard All I Want to Do and decided that we could play it on our show because we could play whatever the hell we wanted because we were a monster show.
A couple of things I'd like to point out that are missing here.
Hold on. Let me stop. At any rate, I'm going to do the same for John Hinckley. I'm going to play that song into the ground. This could be the start of something new. My show also takes credit. Not my show, it was Kevin's show, but I was a part of it. We also take credit or blame for Collective Soul. Collective Soul was a band that had broken up when we discovered the song Shine and started playing it because we liked it. And then suddenly the record company was like, hey, we should put that out and start pushing that song because it's getting big play in Chicago. And they had to go, and they literally had to go back and reform the band because they had broken up. Nobody wanted to hear anything from Collective Soul. And then, you had Collective Soul. All right, point out the flaws in my story.
Oh, I'm not flaws. I'm just saying there are a few things missing with your current pushing of the Hinckley song. One, he doesn't have an album that's getting any airplay.
It's opportunity for us. That is we got to see the opportunities. Continue.
2, Sheryl Crow hadn't attempted to assassinate a president.
He's got a gimmick. He's got a brand. He's got a much better defined brand than Sheryl Crow did when she was
I don't think his brand is associated with positive thoughts. Like the Brady Bill. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Fine. If you're the type of person who just wants to go to the negative, positive thoughts, do I need to read to you again his tweet from earlier today about loving your neighbor and being decent and kind? Well, people can't change? Are you one of those people? Oh, you try and assassinate one president.
I just don't know that the public will forgive him enough to make him a star.
Well, fortunately, you're not the star maker, and you obviously don't have the ear. I have the ear, and I can tell you, this is a banger.
I mean, if he donated all of his proceeds to charity.
Everybody! I don't know the second verse. Let me tell you something. As a guy who's been told he has the ear for music, this guy knows what he's doing, man. He's repeating the catchy chorus over and over and over. Dude knows what he's talking about. Dude knows how to write a hit song.
All right.
And he's got a brand.
I mean, it is a little catchy, but just when I start to think of him,
thank you for being honest. Thank you. I know, but thank you for being honest because it really is catchy. That chorus really is. I don't know if it's great.
I don't know. It may be the slowness of it. Like, it seems like anybody can sing along with it and you're not in a hurry.
Yeah. Start it from the beginning. Just one more time. This is John Hinckley's Roses and Lace from a forthcoming album on 1%er Compound Records. We're going to sign them to a deal, and we're going to get them out there. Yeah.
Make good things come into your life to have a blessed day. This can be the start of something new. Roses and lace,
they are meant for you. Oh, God.
May all your dreams be wonderful each and every night. And may you walk in righteousness and always
positivity.
Do what's right. This can be the start of something new.
It sounds to me like he's medicated to such a level that he can't go any quicker.
Right?
It's just coming in his head like the.
I'll just show you for you folks. Look at that. Look at that zombie. Look at that Thorazine zombie or whatever the hell it is that they got him on. Yeah, John Hinckley. There he is, John Hinckley. Proud to say I follow him on Spotify. Why? Because I believe in the human spirit, and I believe overcoming past mistakes. I believe he's fixed. I think we fixed him. I think that 40 years and a rubber room has fixed him. Kevin says, where was it? I was reading something. I thought it was pretty funny. Where did it go? This could be the start of something new. Man, how great would it be? Somebody should cover that. You know what I mean? Like somebody should just cover it, steal the song, and then just have a hit with it. Kevin Barber says he'd be a great opener for Manson. Is Manson alive? Is Charles Manson alive or did he die? That's one of those dead or alive, Charles Manson. Because it seems like he could have died like 3 years ago. I don't know.
No, I don't think he's dead.
I don't care. I don't want to know. I'm not going to invest any time in Charles Manson. No, not Manson, Kevin Barber, but I want to hear a Bridge Over Troubled Water duet with him and Mark David Chapman. That's the one. That's the one that's going to sell records. Mark David Chapman, John Lennon's assassin, and John Hinckley, the failed presidential assassin, doing a whole. They could do a whole bunch of Simon and Garfunkel covers. I think that would be great. Once again, just so that we're all clear here.
Roses and lace are meant for you. May everyone be on your side at each and every turn. And may you have the smoothest ride. Receive what you have earned. This can be the start of something new.
As we discovered last night from the albums Songs for Jody.
Roses and lace, they are meant for you. May peace be with you every day, in every kind of way. May good things come into your life, to have a blessed day. This can be the start.
Everybody!
Of something new.
The whole crowd singing it.
Roses and lace.
Oh, don't tell me that ain't. Did you see what happened January 6th? That's not crazy for me to say that this guy could become an international superstar now. The world is completely spinning off its axis. There are no rules anymore. Anything is possible. And we could be at ground zero for the John Hinckley brand. Getting him out there.
This is still part of your moment of joy.
It is. He tweets beautiful things. All he does, look. Here's what's crazy.
Well, since you're following him on Twitter, reach out to him, see if you can get him to do an interview. I mean, I bet you he would.
All right. So let's talk about that, because we joked about that last night when we were tracking through the John Hinckley album, which is just a collection of songs with him on an acoustic guitar on Spotify and YouTube. Let me tell you my thoughts on that. So, I mean, I really thought about that. I'm like, wouldn't that be, that'd be interesting, right? We have John Hinckley. I decided I don't want to do it. I don't want to talk to John Hinckley. I wouldn't know. What would we, tell me how would you interview John Hinckley? I mean, I think it would be funny if I just interviewed him as a musician and mentioned nothing about what he was also doing. Because here's the thing. He's obviously a mentally unstable and broken human being. I mean, let's get serious for a minute here, right? I mean, the idea that it would be funny, let's get him on here and make fun of him.
Well, I don't know that we would have to make fun of him. I think you could get him on and do a serious interview with him. Like, how did he get out? Like, what were the circumstances? What are the circumstances surrounding his release?
Yeah.
And then since he's got out, what is the designs for the rest of his life? Is he trying to actually create a music career for himself? Does he have things that he's trying to do to maybe, better the society?
I think you and I could do that. I think it's a tightrope. I think it would get us a lot of attention if we had John Hinckley on.
Well, I might get a lot of haters.
Of course, but we'd also get people who don't give a shit either way and just found it fascinating, So that's who we're going for. We don't worry about the haters.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a decorum that we had with porn stars. I think now there's a decorum we have with attempted assassins.
I don't look. Maybe they say that music is the great changer of minds and attitudes. Maybe because this could be the start of something.
That brings up one that I would have to ask him.
What?
Has he been in touch with Jodie Foster?
No, he's forbidden to. We know
we
that.
thought so. We
in terms
think
of his release.
Yeah.
I do like James Parker's question, though. Are you aware Jodie Foster is a lesbian?
Does that change it? Yeah. Does that change anything for you?
Right. Oh, and it's the other thing I was thinking about. His Jodie Foster. Okay, so maybe there's some younger people who don't know. John Hinckley attempted to assassinate President Ronald Reagan. He severely maimed Jim Brady, who was the White House press secretary at the time. He also injured Secret Service agent Tim McCarthy, who then went on to be the chief of police of my hometown for 30 years. So, I mean, look, there are some really dark things that are in this guy's past. And there it is. See, I just did that thing where I laugh when I'm uncomfortable with the hard truths of life, where I giggle to sort of make it okay for me. So I'm not laughing about that. That's not funny. That's a terrible thing. Dude spent like 40 years in a rubber room, drugged out of his mind. They recently let him out. He's now cutting albums. He seems to still be completely drugged out of his mind. He's mentally handicapped. The guy is obviously not all there. But
the fact that he's from Highland Park, though, I think gives us a leg up on the interview process.
He's from the neighborhood, man. Yeah, he is. We're local. Come do an interview with the local Highland Park, But he, at the time, for those of you who don't know, he was obsessed with the film actress Jodie Foster, and he attempted to kill the president of the United States to impress Jodie Foster. Now, this parallels the actions of Travis Bickle, who was the taxi driver, the character that Robert De Niro played in the movie Taxi Driver, who was going to kill a senatorial candidate to impress Sybil Shepherd. Now, John Hinckley was going to kill a president to impress Jodie Foster, which I don't think he really got Taxi Driver, because there was the character that was being impressed with Sybil Shepherd, not Jodie Foster. And his obsession with Jodie Foster from that movie is really creepy, because Jodie Foster in that movie played an underage teenage prostitute. See what I'm saying? It's like there's all kinds of ookiness.
Yeah, they're well, I mean, he's definitely a ooker.
Yeah, that's well said. So I don't know. I mean, attempting to interview John Hinckley. Go ahead.
Well, I think you throw it out there. I mean, you could always pull he probably, we're probably not the first ones who have thought of it.
Right. But we're the first ones doing a podcast twice a day from his hometown.
Right.
Who's playing the hell out of his music. Right. Nobody else is playing, spinning the hits, spinning the hinks.
Well, we could always follow up with the Urban Meyer girl.
By the way, there are a number of songs, but I'm following the rules of radio and breaking a hit. You take the album, you determine one song, you focus in on one song. Don't go playing 3 or 4 different songs off an album. You pick one song and you hammer that song. You hammer the song. Then you allow people to go out and buy the album and discover the other things. This is the hit. My ear tells me this is the hit. Every night, and may you walk in righteousness. All right, one more time through the verse. Or chorus. This can be the start of something new. Roses and lace, they are meant for you.
Fox News has got a drone now at an angle where you can see underneath the tent. And there looks to be at least 2 or 3 people underneath that tent.
All right. Yes, we are monitoring breaking news coming out of the Carlton Reserve in Florida, where authorities are on the scenes. Coroners are there. Cadaver dogs are there. The parents were there earlier today, the parents of Brian Laundrie. It is believed that we might have a break in the where's Brian Laundrie situation, and it's leaning towards dead. It's leaning towards they found him dead, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with that. I don't need some long drawn out trial. I think we all know what's going on here, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he's found dead, 1 + 1 = he killed her.
I get so sad whenever I start to think again about that beautiful little girl, that beautiful young lady who was so brutally murdered by this monster. I just need something for my spirits.
May all your dreams be wonderful each and every night, and may you walk in righteousness and always do what's right. This could be the start of something new.
So, Pugs, how did you get out of your depression? Well, I'd like to thank the song stylings of John Hinckley, who really opened my eyes to the beauty of life. All right, we'll move on. But I'm going to play that song a lot. You're going to hear that. You know why I'm going to play that song a lot? Because he ain't got a record company. And there ain't no way we can get in trouble for playing it. We can play if that's the music we're going to play. Oh, that could be a music format we could do where we just play songs by people who are fringy characters who don't have record deals, who just like we could also play Manson had songs. Sure,
fringy characters.
Fringe rock.
Fringe rock.
What we play. Yeah, fringe rock. We've got a brand new one. This is a hot
Hazy
one.
Fringe rock.
Roses and Lace from failed presidential assassin John Hinckley on Fringe Rock.
In every kind of way, make good things come into your life.
I mean, it takes a special type of medication for you to plan your music to be that slow.
What's my mom saying? My mom's in the chat room. Leave her alone. So Hinckley grew up in the neighborhood that you're in now, and you grew up in the neighborhood of the what? There was a lot of crazy shit in my neighborhood. What? South side of Chicago is famous for silly stuff. Yeah. All right. And see,
there's two people walking now on the trail that they're following with this drone.
Let's see here. Let's go.
When we see a body bag, I think then we can confirm.
Well, I think the body bag will probably not be seen until they pull it out. You mean if they bring it out into a truck?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to be seen at some point.
Hey, Mr. Dookie Pot Pie, who's Lyle? Who's our friend Lyle? Lyle says his favorite Jodie Foster movie is Bugsy Malone with Scott Baio. Have you ever seen that movie?
I haven't.
I love that. He is absolutely right. That movie is awesome. And it was made, I watched it with my kid when my kid was like 9 years old. I don't even know how we stumbled across it, but it was on and he started staring at it and he's like, my kid was just transfixed by this movie. The movie Bugsy Malone, maybe you remember it from this. It was a gangster movie that was made in like 1974. And instead of casting adults to play all the gangsters, it was all little kids, like little kids with painted on mustaches and, machine gun. And the guns didn't fire bullets. They fired like candy or jelly beans or something. It was crazy 1970s acid trip, but it was a pretty big hit. It's a famous movie. It's like a lot of people have seen it. It is so good. And my kid just couldn't take his eyes off it because he was blown away that these were little kids playing like these gangster types with 1920s gangsters, John Dillinger era stuff. It's really good. And Jodie Foster, another weird role for Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster played the showgirl who gangster 10-year-old Scott Baio was in love with. And she was like 10 years old herself. And she's a showgirl. I'm like, what? That's kind of weird now as an adult when you look back. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
All right. Yeah, we'll take you a picture of this. Yeah, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Just for people who don't know, this is a fun movie to watch with your kids. If you guys, especially if you have a kid that's a little performer who likes to be thinking about maybe getting into whatever it is that acting or something like that. Yeah, let me pull up some of these pictures here. Yeah, I'll just show you so you know what I'm talking about, so you don't think I'm crazy. This would be a good time. See her?
Mm-hmm.
All right, sounds like a cat. Then I'll tell you. There's like a big mob boss. Look at me like a little kid. There's another one, little kid. Come on, show me like a cast photo. What the hell? Look at this guy. Yeah, he was another one of the henchmen. There's Scott. Look at Scott Baio as Bugsy Malone. Look at him. Little kid, little heartbreaker. Where's Jodie Foster? Look, there's Jodie Foster as the
Wow.
slutty 10-year-old showgirl, which very weird. But hey, my kid and I loved it. It's a fun movie, especially if you want to watch it. And it's not necessarily a kid's movie. I mean, it was made by a bunch of 30-year-olds on drugs. So, it wasn't intended for kids, but kids kind of like it. All right, let's see what else we have here.
I don't think they'd be able to do that today.
You don't think so?
I don't think parents would allow you to make a movie like that with kids.
Oh, are you kidding me? Parents will allow their little actor kids to do anything.
Well, the actor kids, but I think there would be a revolt of people not watching it.
Yeah, Mr. Duke, was it whipped cream pies that came out instead of bullets? I thought it was jelly beans, and the cars, they were pedal cars because kids can't drive, so they were like it was in a world where no adults existed. All right, you know what we need? We need to take a little bit of a break here. We need to cleanse the palate before we get back into the trending topics.
Something new.
Roses and lace.
They are meant for you.
Do you think John Hinckley wrote all? I mean, he wants to be loved. He is in love with somebody. I have listened to all of the songs on his album.
Interview question: who are you singing to? Who are you writing to? Roses and lace are meant for you.
And then if he says Jodie Foster, the FBI will be at his door mid-interview. Yeah, Hinks, you just couldn't stop with the Jodie. She's a lesbian, Hinks. She's not into you. And not for nothing, but Jodie Foster was always... Look, okay, she's only been out for like 20 years. There are probably rumors about her for 10 years previous to that. But even, when I was like looking at her...
Prior to the rumors?
Yeah, it's like she was never like a sex symbol. She was never like, even as they tried to make her. I want to think like in the 70s when they had those like, sleepaway camp movies or summer camp fun, where it was TNA stuff and all that. She did a couple of those, but she was never like sexy. She's like Christy McNichol. It's like Christy McNichol was never sexy. It's no doubt.
Christy McNichol was sexy.
As Buddy on what was it? Family? Was she on Family or 8 is Enough? I think she was on Family. I get those two shows confused.
Yeah, I mean,
one was silly, one was
had a short period of sexiness, and then it kind of trailed off.
I never saw it. I had a friend back in the day who thought that Christy McNichol was really hot, and I was like, really? I don't know. And then as she grew up, she made a bunch of those like sexy, we're crazy wild teenage girl movies with Tatum O'Neal, and it's like, Tatum O'Neal, that I get. I'm like, yeah, no, that's a young girl, and it's okay for me saying this because she was like 18 when I was like 12, so I can go there. But with Tatum O'Neal, I was like, yeah, I see that. That is a woman right there. Christy McNichol and Jodie Foster, not so much. And I was always like, yeah, I don't think that they're gonna be in traditional relationships. All right. Anything happening now with Brian Laundrie as we run through?
Well, the amount of cars at the site seems like it's doubled.
Okay.
So instead of there being less resources, there appears to be about double the amount. And multiple people have gotten out of their cars and walked to this tent. Yeah.
So nothing new.
Something's happening.
Yeah, we're
on the back of this one truck they're showing right now. It's a K9 unit, which would confirm the cadaver dogs.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So we're not just gonna like. So we'll be monitoring it. If anything happens, anything big, we'll tell you about it. But the point of this show is that we like to do all things trending. So we've done our moment of joy. I've told you about how John Hinckley is trending because his music is getting really popular on the social pages. Also trending today. This was trending at number one. I don't understand why this is trending at number one, and we're not going to talk about it for any long period of time. But Case Keenum is trending. Case Keenum is replacing Baker Mayfield as quarterback of the Cleveland Browns for Thursday night's game. Apparently, Baker Mayfield is injured, and Case Keenum is going to get the job. And they're saying, this is one of the things that's being reported by NFL reporters, if Baker Mayfield's injury to his throwing shoulder is more serious than expected, guess who they're talking to? Come on,
Cam Newton.
No, yeah, Cam Newton might, but Cam Newton, no. I mean, Cam Newton can't do nothing. We saw what Cam Newton is. He can't throw. I mean, look, Cam Newton was a brilliant player with Carolina for a number of years. He absolutely was, but yeah, he's broke. He's a broken man. Although he did just pass his physical yesterday.
And he got vaccinated.
Well, they're talking about a possible deal with the Buffalo Bills for one Mitch Trubisky to step into the Cleveland Browns lineup. You guys might be able to get a third rounder or something like that for him. Might be.
Why not Nick Foles?
Right? That's what I'm trying to say. Can we get that guy's contract off our books? Nick Foles would be much better than Mitch Trubisky because Mitch Trubisky is he's a young player and you're going to have to re-sign him. He's fine where he is in the system where he is. You're right. Thank you. Nick Foles is a much better option.
Well, I don't think we'll get rid of Trubisky. But I mean, we've got you always got to have the second string quarterback.
Well, what I think is funny is that these are Browns fans pining now for Mitch Trubisky. They're like, no, we should get him because he would be. It's like a year ago, none of you people saw what I saw in the kid. None of you. Me and there's a couple of Mitch heads out there. But I'm telling you, he's healthy. He's got an arm. He was in a crazy, stupid system with a coach who was an absolute madman moron. Now he's with a good system and a good team, backing up a quarterback who has a similar game to him, at least in style of the new modern quarterback. They'd be lucky to get him. Anyway, so let's move on. That's why Case Keenum is trending. Also, this is also trending. This is funny. The Washington football team, they have a new kicker. They've cut or released Dustin Hopkins, their longtime field goal kicker. And they brought in that guy, Chris Blewett. The kicker named Chris Blewett. Isn't that the worst name?
It is if you miss him.
And he's been on multiple teams' practice squads. And I remember when he was drafted because the name was really interested, or maybe he wasn't drafted. Maybe he was just, a kicker for another team. But the whole reason that he's been bouncing around on practice squads is because he's obviously true to his name. He has blown it a time or two. What an unfortunate name.
Yeah, I don't think the parents had any idea he was going to be a field goal kicker.
Right.
Like you'd want to redo on that.
Yeah, you would. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Maybe you could change it legally and go with like mom's maiden name or something. Some people do that whenever there's an unfortunate connotation to a last name.
That must have been tough going through high school because you're so into your kid when he's like playing sports.
Yeah.
And like, you're like, oh man, why did we maybe we change his name now?
Although it was probably never a problem in high school because this is a guy who made it all the way to the NFL.
So he was good?
I imagine he was banging everything in high school, right? I mean, you don't get a big college scholarship. Yeah, he was probably really good in high school. Yeah, this snuck up on him the first time he missed a 30-yard chip shot in a bowl game. That's when everybody went, Chris Blewett. All right, so he's trending. Okay. Now let's take a deep breath, everybody. Let's try and be serious for a moment here because there's another serious thing.
Now we're seeing a dog on the trail.
All right. Very good. Just before we go into this next thing that's trending, let's visit the chat room here for a minute. Let's see what people in the chat room have going on. Leslie wants to know what happened to the kids from Escape from Witch Mountain. Yeah, do you remember the Escape from Witch Mountain movies? Or you might be just a couple of years too much older than me to have a real appreciation for that.
What I remember about Witch Mountain is in high school, we had a place like after the games that everybody would meet up and go drink.
And you called it Witch Mountain?
And we called it Witch Mountain.
Okay, there you go.
That's about as far as my Witch Mountain goes.
Well, but do you know the movie? Do you have any like familiarity with what the reference came from? Okay, so the movie was Escape from Witch Mountain. I might be conflating or confusing or whatever the proper word is, this with the old TV series Shazam, but I seem to remember it was like two attractive girls who were kind of my age. I was little when this came out. Two attractive girls who were kind of my age, maybe just one girl, I don't know. And they were in a Winnebago van, and that's it. That's all I remember. I remember they were escaping from Witch Mountain, but that's only because that's the title. I don't remember how that actually was deployed in the film. But she says, what happened to the kids from Witch Mountain? You know, one of them is a Real Housewife of Beverly Hills now. Is that Kylie Richards? Kylie, I think that's who she is. So there you go. That answers her question. April Michelle told me that my boy online, Lookner, who's the breaking news king of social media, Lookner just retweeted that partial human remains were found. Well, there you go. If Lookner's tweeting it, Lookner is right 100% of the time, and he is typically a good 20 minutes ahead of the major news sources. So there we go. We might have some real confirmation there from my boy Steve Lookner.
And now they're starting to zero in on this dog as he's walking through. Like they went full screen. It was down in the bottom corner. Then they just went full screen to the dog and two people walking behind the dog and I guess the handler. So 3 people total.
Does he have a tibia in his mouth? Dog found a bone and ran away with it.
Funny that you're saying that. That's what I'm thinking. Like, okay, so like we're gonna see the dog come into a bush and he's like gonna pull out the skeleton. Like
he's not gonna give you the bone. Here, boy, come on, boy. Let me see what you got there. You know, no way.
I know if it was a dog that lives here, it would not be pretty. That skeleton would be in pieces in a minute.
I have never in my life experienced living with an animal that is both as delightful as our CeeLo is and as absolutely infuriating as our CeeLo is.
As wild.
I tell you what, I told you about what happened, right? Somehow she got out the other night. You were out doing some Halloween party or something, and so she comes back to the guest house and she stays with me, and you know we have our nice little nights together. So I let her out to go pee, and I came in to do the same. And when I went back out, I was like, "Come on, girl, come on," because you know, I don't like her out there. She likes to hang out with me. And I noticed I couldn't find her. I'm like, where the hell is she? And I'm scanning the expansive, beautiful yard of the 1%er compound here, and I don't see her, but I hear her chain going, cling, cling, cling. So I know she's around. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe she's under my deck. Maybe she got under the steps and she's hanging out under the deck. So I look under there. She's not there. And I'm like, CeeLo. And I hear, where the hell are you? She was on the other side of the fence. She got out of the yard. I still am not 100% certain on how she did it. So at that point, I was like, okay, this is going to be 20 minutes of absolute hell because we know that once she's outside the walls.
Oh, there's no easy way to get her back.
She does not cooperate. She is like, she smells freedom. And where's she going to go? She loves it here. She's got it. She ain't going anywhere for long, but she's so dumb. She'll probably get hit by a car or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or she'll bite somebody, or something stupid will happen with her that she'll get involved in some nonsense. So I was very patient. I was like, okay, well, I know where she's heading because I could hear the chain going clink, 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 clink. And I noticed that she was heading around the front of the house from the back of the house. All right, so I put my shoes in. I reached into my refrigerator. I pulled out a bunch of hot dogs because that's really the only way to get her.
Yeah, of course. And you know she's coming if you do that. That's for sure. She's that dumb.
She did that thing where she stops like 10 feet away from me. And I'm like, okay, CeeLo. And then she gets into that, you know, hot dogs. And then they do that thing like we're playing. And I took a hot dog, I broke it off, and I just threw it at her head. And it bounced right off her forehead. And she went, and she ate it. And then she immediately came to me.
Of course.
Yeah. But she has led us on chases where she'll run balls out for about a block and then stop and wait for us to catch up. And then when we get within 10 feet,
take off again.
It takes off again. It's like, I mean, we've gotten to the point where we just jump in my car out in front. There's no reason to be chasing her down the street. Get in your car because she will do this all night. Oh, that dog. So yeah, so the cadaver dogs. Yeah, if your dog was a cadaver dog, then we would definitely never get Brian's femur back. It would be gone.
Yeah.
Unless the cops themselves have.
And she would give all bones equal attention.
Oh yeah, she don't care.
Yeah.
She's just out there doing her thing, doing her dog thing. All right, so here's something that is trending that we're going to get into today. It is where do I find? I want to make sure I get it right. Want to be respectful, or however it is that we're supposed to play this. It is International Pronoun Day. International Pronoun Day is celebrated annually on the third Wednesday of October. This day seeks to make respecting, sharing, and education about personal pronouns commonplace. First of all, let's stop pretending like it's celebrated annually. Maybe it happened last year, right? But we haven't been doing pronouns for decades, right? I mean, this is a relatively new thing.
Is it a league?
Oh, you're not even familiar with what it is? It's international pronouns. Don't call her. It's they and not her. It's the trans thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, yeah, I mean, I get it. It was a little bit of a bad.
I'm sorry, I wasn't watching you because I was trying to read the article, so I didn't read your cues. I apologize. Yeah, so like you see this a lot on social media now. People, they lead with their pronouns. Which why do you lead with that? Why are you lead? I mean, okay, I get it. You're an ally. That's wonderful. We all need allies, and I think it's great. But it shouldn't be like the first real. Should it? I mean, I don't lead with him, he, him, which would be, technically my pronouns. Although I do prefer it and that. Those are the pronouns that I prefer to be referred to as. It and that. I'm not a he, him, and I'm certainly not a they. I am an it and that. Any hot takes on pronouns? Be careful. This is how people's careers end.
No.
No, he's got nothing. He's got nothing on International Pronoun Day. Look, if we all get to choose them, then I'm going to go with it or that. I like that. I like the idea that I'm more of a thing than a they. But there is something more to be discussed here, and it is the reaction that I just had. And the reaction that I just had is a reaction that I think is natural for a Gen Xer who is now dealing with all of this stuff for the first time. Have you? Well, you're an artist, so maybe you have. Have you run across people who prefer to be theys and thems as opposed to him, her, she, he?
No.
Do you know any trans people?
Yeah, I don't know anybody who's went through the whole gender switch.
Yeah, that's required. That's not required. It's just how they live their life. It's just about. It's not about what the genitals are. That seems to be
okay. I don't. Then I do know two.
Okay, so how do you refer to them?
As her, but it's really physically. The parts are him.
What were they born? They were born
a him,
and now
they're a her.
They are a her. Okay. And I guess it all comes down to the individuals. Like you say,
actually, both are her.
So you're comfortable honoring their choice. Their choice is her.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean,
right? Thank you. That's why do we care? Why? Well, I'm going to tell you why we care. Here's.
I think I actually like it that they identify that way because they act that way.
Here's the problem. This is why people care. Because new things make lazy minds hostile. That's all it's about. If you've got a lazy mind that doesn't like change, that is resistant to anything that's new and unfamiliar to you, then yeah, you get frustrated not understanding the world as it unfolds in front of you because it's not the world that unfolded when you were 18, and you get frustrated, and then that turns into hostility. That's all this is about. And look, lazy minds. I'm a lazy mind, man. I really am. I include myself in that group. But with that said, I just honestly think that at some point it comes down to just why do you care? And let's just respect people. You don't have to hang out with them. You don't have to carpool with them. You know what I mean? You don't need to be friends with everybody. But, in one-on-one human interactions, just respect their choice, regardless of whether or not it irritates you. Because again, I'm here to point out that it irritates you because you're frustrated that you don't understand the world. It's because we're getting older. Just dedicate yourself to recognizing that once you pass a certain age group, you're irrelevant. I'm irrelevant. This is the world of a 25 through 35-year-old right now, and they see things different than me. And I'm not the first to go through it. Our parents went through it. Their parents went through it. The world changes. People, I mean, my God, you know what my grandpa would have freaked out if he saw a black and white couple. That was not something that he was okay with. I don't know that it was something he was okay with, but it was something that would have been so foreign to him, it would have frustrated him, and he probably would have manifested that frustration with some sort of hostility.
I had a little bit of frustration with my one friend in a discussion because I was obviously inquisitive as to why he thought he was a woman when his sexual partner choice was a woman.
Yeah.
And he tried to explain to me that he was
a lesbian,
a lesbian,
a trans lesbian.
And I was like, dude, I like women. You're a man. You like women. How can you think that you're a lesbian and still like women? Like that was hard for me to.
Right. It was hard for you. It was difficult. So you became frustrated. And that's where the dude came from. That's frustration. And we all experience that. That doesn't make you less than anyone else. But I think that there is a way to just recognize that all people have a right to do whatever the hell they want to do as long as it doesn't bother you. And just be respectful of the average other human. Just if that's their choice, they're not asking you to understand it. They're asking you not to be a dick to them. That's all. That is not a hard thing to do.
And I said to her, but it's time, I was like, is it because that you act female that you think it's easier to just say that you're a female and then a lesbian? And no, that was not the answer. It was like he felt like he was a female.
Yeah. And we cannot understand that because we don't have that. We don't have that. I say this all the time with people. People do not understand depression. I suffer from depression. If you don't have it, you have no way to understand what it feels like. And because I myself suffer that, I have to look at people who are going through those kinds of things and go, yeah, our bodies are just a stew of complications. I mean, we're not all the same. We have different.
Well, and that was the thing too, because it was like, and this may be more for the Pillow Talk show, but I was like, okay, so when you're sexually aroused, you're aroused as a male. Yeah. So you're not really experiencing it like you're a female. So
now
I don't know. That just like spins my.
You had this conversation. See, that's awesome, man. That is respect. Having an actual conversation respectfully about something you don't understand with somebody who can probably answer those questions is not awful. It shouldn't make people go, oh, don't ask that.
It wasn't awful, but it did blow me even further back. Like I was like,
you were okay with your questions, right? Because you were being respectful.
I think because we were both artists, and so we're able to kind of like go on that ground. But I was like even further confused, because I was like, well, you're not really experiencing sex as a female. You're experiencing sex as a male.
Do you recognize that you being confused about that is okay? That you don't need answers to everything. We don't have answers to half the things we experience in life. Just be okay with not getting it and move on.
Yeah, I think I kind of resigned myself to the fact that maybe he doesn't get it. Right?
Okay.
Or she didn't get it,
But as long that's fine. That's happening inside your head. That's how you deciphered this whole situation. But again, it only comes down to don't be a dick to people. Just accept that other people have things going on that maybe you don't understand. You don't have to understand. It's the other thing. I love that you engaged in a conversation with the person, because people are gutless. People aren't curious. People would just not say anything. It's, oh, we can't. I have a long, maybe you've heard me say this before. Whenever, my entire life, whenever I see somebody with some form of different thing, if they're in a wheelchair, if they have one arm, if they, you know what I mean? If it's something, I always engage them about what that's about. Like I always go, oh, so wheelchair, what happened with the wheelchair? And people my entire life have been appalled. I can't believe you asked him about his arm. And guess what? 100% of the time, they are totally cool to talk about. It is the best in most cases. It is the biggest event of their life. And they will tell you about it. And they will, they aren't, somebody who's been in a wheelchair for 20 years is not crying themselves to sleep every night because they're in a wheel. They're okay with it. This is their life, and being curious and not judgmental, but being honestly interested in them and their story is something that these people are okay talking about. And I've never done that with a trans person. I haven't, but only because I think, I don't really know that many. But certainly if I was ever out at a party or something, or in a group, and one of the people were obviously a trans, I would absolutely engage them about them. I would ask about, decision. I would ask about trying to understand. And as long as you're respectful and not judgmental, it should be fine. Although I do fear we do live in an era where the outrage queen dominates. You know what I mean? Like, even if I'm engaged in a normal conversation, having a nice back and forth, and I'm getting questions and answers and all that, there's probably going to be some girl there. I can't believe you would do that. Would you stop being transphobic? Stop being I'm not. I'm actually the opposite of transphobic. I'm going out of my way to engage with this person and talk to them about their experience so that I can have a fuller and better understanding of what they're going through. And I completely understand that at the end of this conversation, I might be more confused than I was when I started, but at least we've had a dialogue here. At least we've connected as human beings in a non-judgmental, non-cruel way. And that's the trick. Just don't be a dick. You don't have to understand everything.
Yeah, no, I figure that, like, all I walked away knowing was like, wow, what I thought was wrong, and that's not at all how they're thinking, and how they are attracted. Just, I don't know. It's like it's just cross wiring, I guess, and that really made me think, like, it's not a choice. You know what I mean? Like, there's some chemistry, something that's wired differently. I don't know. It was interesting, but
I was just reminded of a fight that I had with my first wife. We went to a party with a bunch of her friends from college, and on the car ride over, she briefed me. She said, okay, when we get there, when you meet, I don't remember the person's name, Lisa. When you meet Lisa, don't say anything about her extra finger. And I was like, I remember the first thing I went was, oh, I'm going to ask Lisa about her extra finger, because it's just something that I want to know about, even though I had been prepped not to ask her. And we were drinking, and it wasn't the first thing I said upon meeting Lisa, but, we're at a party and we're all talking. And I said, hey, let me ask you something. What is that about? And she taught me about this thing that she had when she was a little kid that was some like chromosome thing that caused like another finger to grow out of another finger. And so she had 6 fingers, and she painted it, the nail was painted and everything. And I'm like, can you get it removed? And I remember her saying to me, why would I want to get it removed? I go, it's one of the most interesting things about me. And I thought, that's it. And then on the ride home, I remember my wife saying to me, I can't believe you did that. I go, oh yeah, that friend loves me more than any of your other friends because we bonded over it. And she would not have it. Even though she saw that it was cool and everything, she was just embarrassed. So
did it work the same as the other fingers?
I don't remember. I don't really remember. I just remembered that, it was she painted it. She painted the nail just like she did on the other ones.
Well, I mean, you would almost have to.
Yeah, but well, of course. And she's had it all her life. And it probably helps that she was beautiful. I mean, she was a really beautiful girl. So, it's like maybe she was just uber confident in every, way that she lived her life. But she wasn't. And that was the thing I asked. I go, could you get it removed? And she's the one who said, why would I do that? It's the most interesting thing about me. And it was that's a great line.
She had a great way of accepting it.
Right. And the line is great because it's self-effacing. Like she's saying, other than my sixth finger, I'm pretty boring. And this, and so she was a cool person. Now, my ex-wife was cool too, but not on that night. She didn't understand. And that's where I had to go into my whole thing. You need to engage these people. You need to ask them questions. Don't ignore the elephant in the room. They know they're the only person in the wheelchair. They know that they're the only person with one arm or whatever it is. And there was another guy that we knew who had one arm, and he used to tell stories all the time about how he lost his arm. And every time the story would change. I mean, it would go from a motorcycle accident to he got bitten by a shark. So, he had fun with it. He would just come up with.
So he was just born without it. He just would make up the story.
I really don't know. Honestly, because there were so many different stories. Ralphie was his name. There were so many different stories that I don't, and we weren't that close of friends. He was just a guy I knew. And the joke was that what story did he give this time? Because it was always, but he was having fun with it. I guess I don't know what the real story was. I remember shark. I remember he got bit off by a shark. I remember train. I remember motorcycle accident. I remember all those things. I don't know which one was real. All right. So happy International Pronoun Days from this, it, and that to they, them, you, he, she, me, him, they. Do you know pronouns? So I realize every time that we get into the pronoun, what are her pronouns? That I'm not really good with that kind of vocabulary stuff. I must have zoned out in the 5th grade when we learned all that stuff.
I'm awful.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I said, is it a league? There's pronouns and then there's regular nouns.
There you go. Now I get it.
And then we got the verbs.
All right, what else?
And they're doing a lot of commercials right now on Fox.
Yeah, that means
makes me think they're getting ready to gear up for
a long extended
something.
Yeah, that's a trick. If you notice commercials on TV are running longer than usual, it means that they're trying to save up time so that they can go long with a live breaking thing. Yeah. Because when they do have live breaking things, they won't do a commercial for 90 minutes. They'll just Yeah. Ruby Rose is trending today. Do you know who Ruby Rose is? Have you ever heard of Ruby Rose?
No.
Nah, don't feel bad. I didn't either. I had to look her up. She is apparently there's a TV show called Batwoman. Warner Brothers television series Batwoman. She played Batwoman. Didn't know there was a I guess the backstory is that Bruce Wayne has gone missing, and his cousin, who is played by Batwoman, who also happens to be a former military SEAL, like a real badass. She dons the costume and she goes and rescues Gotham. Ruby Rose is trending because she stopped being Batwoman like a year ago. Apparently this series is in like season 3. So after the first season, she left and people were like, oh, why is Batwoman leaving? And, she said all the right things. Well, now she's Instagramming about the real reasons why she left. And apparently there was some messed up stuff going on the set of Batwoman. So Ruby Rose is an actress and she's spilling all the good, what do they call it? Spilling the
beans.
Spilling the beans on Warner Brothers and the producers and Gray Scott, who is one of the actors on the show. She's talking about him being a jerk. Apparently, people got paralyzed. She broke her back in filming in a stunt on the show.
Oh, I think I remember that. That was a while ago.
Yeah. This would have been like a couple of years ago now. But she is spilling the beans, saying that these people are awful. They don't care. So that's why Ruby Rose is trending. By the way, I had to look up Ruby Rose. Beautiful, beautiful woman. She's an Australian supermodel turned Batman actress.
Well, I would think in order to be Batman actress, you would have to have some good looks.
You would think. Okay, also trending, Madam Vice President is trending. Happy birthday to Kamala Harris. Got a guess on how old Vice President Kamala Harris is?
49.
Oh, really? Yeah, you know what? This is good because she's not. She's 57 years old today, but she looks good for 57. That is no lie. She's a good-looking 57. So you saying 49 means that you also think she looks much younger than you would expect.
Well, I think she looks younger than 57, yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, so happy birthday, Madam Vice President. Just happy birthday, Vice President Kamala. But they got Madam Vice President. Whatever.
Well, it has to be.
No, it doesn't. It can just be Vice President. They're trying to be like snooty. They're trying to be fancy.
Well, you would say Mr.
Oh, shut up. I guess you're right. It just struck me as a bit pretentious. Happy birthday, Madam Vice President.
Because there's not been one.
I guess. Walter Reed is trending. Walter Reed
hospital.
Military Hospital. Yeah, it was trending earlier today. Wherever that is military base, naval base there. I want to say, is it in Annapolis? I don't know, somewhere over there. It was under lockdown for a bomb threat. I don't have the latest on that, so I'm guessing that the bomb didn't go off because this was hours ago, and we've not really been broken into with any. It seems like that would be a big story.
Yeah, it seems like Lochner would be tweeting about that versus finding human remains.
All right, Facebook is also trending. Facebook is changing its name. Did you see this story?
I did not. I thought they had gotten in trouble, though.
Oh, my God.
Well, they're always getting in trouble nowadays.
You know, we were talking about people having a difficult time, older people having a difficult time dealing with pronouns and people who make life choices they don't understand. You just wait till Facebook changes its name on your Aunt Martha. She is going to freak out. She ain't going to recognize nothing.
My mom used to call it Spacebook.
Nice.
It was kind of a combination of MySpace and Facebook.
Yeah. Or you just call it My Face.
Or My Face.
Call it My
book.
So and here's just, this is how little they think of us. This is how little Zuckerberg and his team of mutants think of us. Facebook is reportedly planning a name change to shake off recent scandals. Like we're just gonna go.
Oh yeah, that was the artist formerly known as Facebook.
Yeah. Facebook is reportedly planning to change its company name as soon as next week in an effort to distance itself from recent scandals and align itself more closely with CEO Mark Zuckerberg's recent obsession with the metaverse. I don't even know what that is. Meta, everything about everything. I don't know.
They're going to take after like Kanye and just go with the last two letters. Okay.
There's a whole explanation on what they're going to do, but honestly, this is just, they're embarrassed. People think Facebook sucks. It trends all the time. So now they're going to give it a new name.
New logo?
Well, I don't know. I would assume. New look. Facebook is reportedly planning to change the name of the company, blah, blah, blah. Facebook's app and websites would be unchanged. Except for the name. I mean, you got to change the name, right? So I'm just telling you, they're going to be old people who don't like change. They only got on Facebook so that they could see pictures of their grandchildren in California. And now you're going to change something? I mean, that's one of the funniest things. Whenever Facebook every couple of months changes their layout or whatever, and then we all got to deal with our parents and stuff being pissed because it's not the exact same thing that it was. Oh, no, I got to learn how to do this again. Am I going to have to sign up? Am I going to have to download something? I imagine they're going to make it easy. I imagine it's not. But
sounds to me to be some kind of a legal dodge.
it's just they think so little of us that we're going to be like, oh, this site that I use every day of my life that was really bad, oh, it's now good because it's called what? Space Face? Because what are they going to do?
Like, okay, like maybe Mark Zuckerberg should just change his name. That would be easier.
Right? Yeah, or just go live on the moon, Mark. When are you going to start a space program, Mark? When did you get up there? There was a funny tweet though that was shared like a couple of million times, and it was just it was the old picture of Tom from MySpace. You know, Tom, where he's like this.
Everybody's friend.
Yeah, and it said, "Shout out to dudes who never had to change their name because of scandal." It was just Tom. I was like, yeah, that's true. All right, let's see what else is happening here. Oh no. Okay, this website is not responding. Well, that's not. Ugh. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna get rid of this. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble here. You know what? We've been doing a lot of stuff here for the last couple of minutes. Let me quickly go back. Let me just, because as I say, a lot of these trends that I
refresh your browser.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what's the latest that's happening, because there might be totally new trends that. No, still a bunch of politically divisive garbage. Matt Gaetz is trending.
Isn't he gonna go to trial for something?
No, nothing. Because nothing happens to these people anymore. Nothing. No.
I thought like he had a whole bunch of like scandal with like underage girls and sex.
Oh yeah. He's paying underage prostitutes with Venmo payments. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And what happened?
And nothing happens to these people anymore. There is no rule of law anymore. Come on, man. You get Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon is just openly defying a subpoena. He's been called in front of the House Select Committee on the January 6th, whatever you want to call it, and he's just saying no. And so last night they go, all right, well, let's vote to hold him in contempt. 24 hours later, Steve Bannon's streaming his show today. I mean, nothing happens to these people because everybody that's in charge of everything is a feckless pussy. Well, if we do that to them, then they're going to do it to us. Hey, dipshit. Oh, man.
And then didn't he have like a houseboy that he adopted or some young kid or I don't know. There was some weird details around this guy.
Yeah, he adopted like a 30-year-old, really handsome Latino man and called him his adopted son. Yes.
Yeah.
Everything is so weird, but we have the attention spans of a gnat, and if we get all worked up about it for 15 minutes, in the 16th minute, we're going to find something else, and we're going to totally forget about that. Stupid. Brian Laundrie is trending number 1. We still have no update on that. All right, here we go. This is something that's trending, and on National Pronouns Day, no less. Hashtag Netflix walkout. Are you following this story? This has been
I'm familiar with this. It's got to do with Chappelle.
Yeah, so today is the day that here's what I don't get. Okay, so trans employees of Netflix are upset about the Dave Chappelle special, The Closer, which is brilliant. It is such a brilliant piece of comedy.
So you're making him more pissed now.
Well, fuck them. I honestly don't care. I mean, I think I'm a pretty rational, decent-minded person. I do not see what this special is being accused of by this particular group of Americans. And what is that? Is it's a transphobic. It's because he does 30 minutes on his history of being mischaracterized by the trans community, and it's funny. And because he makes jokes throughout the course of him explaining his position on all of this, people can't handle that. And if you're a smart person who actually just sits there and listens to it, at the end, you understand that he's not transphobic at all. He's not being, I don't want to get into that.
Well, I think you have to look at it like if you were a person with a bunch of comedians at a roast.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say things about you at a roast that you could literally get upset at, but because it's comedy, you need to just kind of take the other position of, okay, they're doing this to be funny. They're not doing it to be malicious.
I can't. I don't want to go into this.
But I mean, don't you think that those people, that's how they need to look at it? Like, it's not an assault on you or you as a person or you as a race or, you know, a
I may
type
agree
of
with you.
a gender.
I may agree with you, but who the hell cares? You know what?
Well, because comedy's getting so difficult.
It is getting incredibly difficult. It is, yeah. Look, what I witnessed in Dave Chappelle, the closer, was the most magnific, the most beautiful representation of stand-up comedy as an art form that I've ever seen. Probably since something that Pryor did, maybe Live on the Sunset Strip, or you know, Carlin, you know, something from, you know, Seven Dirty Words or something. I mean, satire is not allowed to be a thing anymore if within the course of the satire. So this is why we talked the other day about how Mel Brooks is they're not rebooting, but they're creating a Hulu series based on the film Mel Brooks History of the World Part 1, and it's going to be called Mel Brooks History of the World Part 2, and it's going to be a series. And you know, my problem with it is satire as a form of comedy, satire as an instrument to point out how ridiculous the world is dead. You can't do it. People do not interpret satire anymore. It's just, you're being mean. No, go deeper. It's not me. We can't go deeper. And I also think that I don't want to go into this. I don't want to go into this. At any rate, Netflix employees are staging a walkout in the wake of CEO's response to the controversial Dave Chappelle special. The Trans Employee Research Group at Netflix is planning a company-wide walkout on October 20th. This in protest of remarks made by joint CEO Ted Sarandos regarding Dave Chappelle's recently released comedy special, The Closer. LGBTQ activists say Chappelle made a number of anti-trans comments in the special. I disagree. Wednesday's walkout comes after the streaming service reinstated 3 employees who were suspended for attending a director-level meeting that they had not been invited to. So that's there was a big high-end board meeting, not board meeting, but directors of different divisions of Netflix had a big closed-door meeting, and it was stormed by a bunch of employees at Netflix who were, irate about this, and those employees were suspended, as would probably happen in any job anywhere. Just because you disagree with what the corporate policy is or what the higher ups do doesn't mean, right? You don't get to just kick in the door and go, we've had enough. I mean, what happens next is you're fucking fired, right? I mean, that's what happens.
Generally,
right.
My way or the highway, it used to be.
But not anymore. Not anymore. Those people were suspended and now they've been brought back. And here's my question about Netflix. How many, this is not accusatory. This is not judgmental. This is called curiosity, ladies and gentlemen. How many trans people work at Netflix? I mean, are we talking like...
Well, but I think it's not only the trans people. I think it's people that are going to support their fellow employee.
And I've been thinking about how I would do that, because I consider myself an ally of all groups. I'm not just all groups that don't have hate and cruelty in their hearts, right? I mean, like, I'm not an ally of the people that go, all lives matter. No, shut up. I'm not your ally. I get what you're doing there. I ain't playing your stupid game. But I am an ally of people who feel like, they've been maybe given the short end of the stick throughout life. And you're right. So let's say, I mean, neither of us work in an office building. Neither of us, but I'm wondering, like, your average office that has maybe 100 people in it, how many of those 100 are trans?
Oh, I would imagine the percent is
minuscule, right?
Yeah, 1, 2, maybe.
I mean, you might have one person in your office, and that's cool. But are you going to have 50? Like, is 50% of your office?
Well, but I think, though, that person is going to be well liked.
Sure.
And other people will then want to support
and embraced. Yeah.
Right. And then those people will want to support that person.
Yeah.
And so I think it's then, okay, you might have one trans, but then you probably have a Hispanic, you probably have some blacks, you probably got some Asian, on down the list of other minorities.
So let's say you got the let's just do it with 100, because 100 is an easy number for us to wrap our mind around. Let's say there are 100 employees at Netflix, and that there's probably thousands, but bear with me. So let's say there are 100 employees at Netflix, and let's say that one of them is trans, and 40 others are going to walk out, 40 others who are otherwise traditional, in their manner of traditional in their loyalty to their biological birth, right? Look, I'm parsing my words like I'm trying, but I'm trying to be fair, and I'm not trying to not put any spin on any of the words that I'm saying here. So let's say, so now you got the one trans person out of the 100 people. You got the one trans person that's going out because they feel aggrieved, and you've got 30 people who are going to be allies. Now, maybe 20 more people in the office don't have an opinion either way. They're just like, they don't want to be dealing with it. They don't care, but they also don't want. I mean, I'm wondering what how many would you, if you were in that office of 100 people, are you walking out with them, or are you just saying, I'm going to eat lunch at my desk today. You guys go have fun. I'm just going to sit here and have my sandwich. Because I tried to think, what would I do? Because I don't know. First of all, I don't think Dave Chappelle did anything wrong. So I don't support the jumping off point of this entire movement. That doesn't mean I don't support the movement. It means I don't support the reason that this is happening.
I think there's going to be a group of people that walk out because they're supporting the other person. I think there's going to be, sadly to say, another group of people that are walking out because, hell, if we can walk out and get out of this damn place, I'm in.
Right.
Just the employee that's just like, hey, get me out of work, any reason, I'm going to walk out. And then I think there's going to be people that are supportive but will be afraid to walk out because of the repercussion, or possibly leaving the employer in the lurch, and they take their job or responsibility very seriously. And so
But
I don't think
but that doesn't mean they're against the movement or against the individual. It just means that they don't want to be involved in this because their job means more to them. Yeah, right? Like they want
and that's where I think everybody needs to, if you need to be open, if you're asking for them to be open-minded enough to support you, you also need to be open-minded enough to understand that they can support you, but not necessarily walk out.
This happens a lot with high schools. 1,200 students at Indianapolis area high school walked out today. I never put much credibility when it's a high school, because any high school kid given a chance to walk out when everybody else, it doesn't mean that they support what the walkout is about. It means they want to go get high in their friend's van, right? That's what that means. But a business is different. These are people who work. These are people whose livelihoods depend on this risk that they're about to take. And I honestly don't know. In this case, even though I would consider myself an ally to the trans movement in all that they're trying to accomplish, and, look, we've talked about this a lot today because it's a hashtag National Pronouns Day. Even though I consider myself an ally, I do not agree with this particular situation. So I think I would sit at my desk. But then now I got people mad at me, and I got to spend the next few years of my life going, but I'm an ally. You know what I mean? Now I'm defined by one decision that I made on this one day, because I don't, oh boy, the world is really complicated.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's really complicated.
I don't know what I do. I'm interested to see how many people actually are walking out, because, what is it? It's 1:38. Where's Netflix? Netflix, their corporate headquarters is on Pacific time. So that would be 11:38. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's see what the latest is here. That's always
so let me give you a what if.
Numbers. Yeah.
So you're vaxxed.
Yeah.
I'm vaxxed.
Yeah.
There are people that, if they're not vaxxed, they're about to lose their job. They're for not getting vaxxed.
Right.
If they staged a walkout as somebody that's vaxxed, would you support that?
If there was a vaccine mandate at my place of work, I'm already vaxxed, but the people who don't want to be vaxxed were going to walk out in protest of the mandate.
Well, because they're going to get fired.
Right. Would I support them? Is that your
Yeah.
question? Hell no. No, absolutely not. I would be angry that they're just being stupid. The selective idea about they're not sticking a needle in me. They've been sticking needles in you since you were born. Kids get these regular. Somebody said, somebody on the news said, I don't even know what it was.
But isn't that a form of choice?
Wait. Somebody said, "Oh, what? Are we going to need a shot every year now?" And people are like, "Yeah, you mean like flu?" Yeah, yeah, maybe. What? You suddenly got a problem with that? Nobody has a problem with getting a flu shot every flu season. Oh, now we're going to need a COVID shot every year. Yeah, maybe. The world changes. These things happen. What the? Your selective anger is fueled entirely by some misguided set of politics that you've decided to embrace over the course of the last few years. Shut up, get your shot, help society, be a team player. Go ahead, E.
Well, I'm just saying, though, don't you find yourself maybe on that fence of it's their body, not yours? So it's kind of this pro-choice movement, but it's gotten taken to the level of a vaccine. Not
well, it's all our pandemic. I don't give a shit about it's their body, not mine. It is all our pandemic. This pandemic is all of ours. And if science has come up with a way for us to maybe make it all go away a little bit quicker, because need I remind you, we're heading up on 2 years of this bullshit. Come on, man. Every argument these people make is moronic. It's just completely stupid. We've been getting shots for all kinds of things our entire lives.
Yeah, and I guess it's not the same. It's not the same as abortion because you can't catch pregnancy from somebody else that's choosing to do an abortion or not do an abortion.
And then people are saying, I saw some crazy person was tweeting a week ago or so. Oh, the NBA let Magic Johnson play with full blown HIV, but a guy with coronavirus can't play in the NBA. Like, this moron thinks that this moron has no idea of the difference of how HIV is spread and how COVID is spread. And he thinks that was a good argument to make. And millions of people were like, bravo, brother. Bravo. So smart. Is Magic Johnson fucking the guy that's guarding him? Is that what's happening? Is he making out with the guy that's guarding him? You can catch COVID by just standing next to somebody. That's not how HIV is transmitted. But, any argument the stupid can glom onto to make themselves feel good in the moment, that's what's happening here. This whole
I mean, I do, and Leslie makes the point in the chat room. I do think it's interesting that anti-vaxxers are not all anti-vaxxers are pro-choice, but their argument for not being vaxxed is that it's their body and nobody's going to tell them what to do with it. But then they lose that, I guess, when it becomes another person in their mind.
They have zero intellectual consistency because they do not engage in any kind of intellectual exercises on a regular basis. They hear something that they want to believe because it fits with what they already want to know and want to believe, and they just parrot it out. And that's how they end up saying these stupid fucking things. Because when they read something that sounds good, they just repeat it, and it becomes a part of their personal bibliography. When in fact, it was really a dumb thing if you had actually looked into it and let it settle, but it sounded good. Stephen Colbert 20 years ago on his show invented the phrase truthiness. Truthiness is what Americans love. It's not necessarily true, but it sounds like it could be. And it sounds like it is good. So that now becomes our facts. Truthiness.
So taking away abortion for somebody that's pro-choice, I guess the similar would be, okay, you don't get a ventilator if you're not vaxxed.
Yeah, I guess.
But I mean, I hate in terms of like the way that people's logic are, okay, you want to get an abortion. We don't agree with your decision to get an abortion. So we're going to try to take abortions away for anti-vaxxers, then would that same logic be, okay, you chose not to get vaxxed, so now if you get sick, you don't get a ventilator?
Yeah. I mean, I would have to really think that one through, but I mean,
that isn't that essentially you're putting them in harm's way?
You know what? I don't.
I mean, you're making somebody raise a child, be responsible for that for 18 years.
Here's what I think. Here's me, the guy that doesn't go to church, the guy that doesn't really engage in any active faith or organized religion. Here's what I think. I think if a human being needs help, we help them, regardless of what their political agenda is. That's what I think. So no, I'm not real comfortable with not giving the person a ventilator because they made the choice. I'm not. I'm uncomfortable with that.
I am too. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Actually cares about strangers and actually thinks that we should all be on the same page when it comes to just helping people. Just help them. If another human being needs help in some way, we should help them.
I'm going to make it tougher. What if we were short of ventilators and you had a group of people that were vaxxed and a group of people that were unvaxxed and you didn't have enough to go around?
I think you help the one closest to you. I think the one closest to the ventilator gets it. I don't make any moral distinction that's based upon, someone's choice to or not get the vent. That's, we need to say, I don't want to have this conversation. I really don't. Because it's such an ugly.
It is ugly, but it's tough.
The end result is that I just get very upset with the fact that humanity is terrible. Humanity is really terrible. And I just wish that we could just be cool with one another and just.
All right, moving on to trending topics.
I don't want to move on to trending. I don't know what we're doing. I'm all.
You got 14 minutes left, and we're trying to wait out this Brian Laundrie situation. Man, it is taking a damn long time to figure out if a body is a guy that has been in search of for like a month and a half.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so Billy Joel is trending. Come out, Virginia, don't let me wait. Billy Joel trending all morning today. You know why Billy Joel is trending? He's not dead. Perfectly. He didn't get drunk and drive his car into a tree again, which is, something that Billy Joel is wanting.
It's one of his nights at Madison Square Garden.
No, there's a story that's going around, and I want to make sure that we be completely clear about this. Billy Joel is trending because there is a meme going around that shows Billy Joel playing at the piano. Meme. My son always corrects me. Meme. He's playing at the piano, and it says, Billy Joel doesn't sell tickets to the front row of his concerts because he doesn't want rich people and industry types taking the seats that he'd prefer go to his working class fans. Beautiful. I appreciate that. So what he does is he buys out the entire first row himself of his concerts, and then he gives those packs of tickets to a bunch of people, his roadie crew or whatever, and then those people are dispatched up into the shit seats, and then they just pick at random people, and they hand them out. A lot of times they said one of the criteria is a family with kids, they get to come in the front row, and it's a very nice, very wonderful thing. Yes? We all agree?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not Billy Joel's move, though. This is a move that has been attributed. I mean, he may be doing it, and he may be engaging in it. So, again, I say, wonderful for you, Billy Joel. But this was first made famous back in the 80s with Bruce Springsteen, when Bruce Springsteen did it. And then it was taken to an even larger level in the 90s when Garth Brooks did it. This is a Springsteen Garth Brooks move from 20 years ago. And Billy Joel is trending because people think that he invented the move. He didn't invent the move. Springsteen, Garth Brooks were the first ones to say F you to their corporate record companies. The story goes that Bruce Springsteen looked down at a concert once and he saw all of the guys who had turned his records down. Like he saw all the industry guys that didn't like his shit when he was struggling. And he went, oh man, what are these people doing in the front row? Well, boss, that's because those seats go to record companies. Not anymore, man. And then he made sure that all the concerts after that the front couple of rows
We're not corporate execs.
Yeah, was just, fans, because he said that when he's playing, the people that he wants to see, the people that he can see, he wants them to be real people, not a collection of supermodels and their record company boyfriends.
And that's so cool because you can get away with that as the artist when you finally made it that big. You're like, that doesn't inspire me. I'm not going to do a good show if I see these jackasses that bring on these negative thoughts in my head. So you get a way to like kind of step them to the curb without really having to use anything but the artist gig.
I want to tell a story about a guy I like to call Front Row Johnny. Doon, 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 doon. Johnny had a big old fancy job working for one of them Los Angeles-based record companies. Doon, 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 doon. Johnny told a 19-year-old Bruce from New Jersey that he'd never make it in this business. Doon. And there's Johnny right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's kind of how it went. He did his.
They ushered him out.
I've seen Bruce a few times. So congratulations, Billy Joel. Congratulations, Garth Brooks. Congratulations, Bruce Springsteen. Okay. By the way, fun fact, I love Billy Joel. I love Billy Joel. I love Billy Joel. I've seen Billy Joel like 3 times. I don't give a shit if you people don't think I'm cool. I'm Gen X. I don't think you're cool. I think that Billy Joel is cool. Billy Joel is fun. I can tell you, I could name, please stop it. You know who else I like? Hall & Oates. Oh, you don't think Hall & Oates is cool? I do. You get Hall & Oates' greatest hits, you put that on at a party, you'll see the whole world loves Hall & Oates. Tired. I spent a very good.
You like Nickelback too?
I don't have a problem with Nickelback. I don't know. What I love about Nickelback is their predictability. Their songs are like cookie cutter. They're all the same songs. They start out slow. They start out like this. They start out with a catchy verse. And then at some point, they rock real hard. And then they slow it down again. That's what I appreciate on Nickelback. They're predictable. They're like all the same songs. I spent a large portion of my life working in music radio. In the 90s, I worked in alternative music radio. And anybody old enough to remember the 90s and alternative radio, we just thought we were the coolest kids in the world. Oh, yeah, I saw Nirvana when they played on a street corner in 91. It was like that whole attitude where, oh, really? You're still listening to 80s bands? Oh,
kind of like what you're going to say about Hinckley.
Yeah, well,
I played Hinckley when nobody was playing
Hinckley
him
before. Yeah, no, so I was that guy for a long time, and then I grew up, and I went, you know what? There's a lot of really good music that I really love, but I just pretended that I didn't love it because I thought that was the cool avenue to take. Screw that. I love Billy Joel. I love Hall & Oates. Duran Duran was trending again today as well. There's the music trends had Billy Joel, Travis Tritt. He's trending for obvious reasons. He's blocking everybody. And Duran Duran was trending because I think it's is it 40 years ago today, one of their breakthrough albums, Rio, was released or something like that. First concert I ever went to, Duran Duran.
Wow. Mine was the Beach Boys.
Beach Boys. Now, okay, so I do make a distinction when people talk about the first concert they ever went to, because a lot of times people will say the first concert they ever went to was one that they were dragged to by their parents. Did your parents drag you to the Beach Boys?
No, I won the tickets at a teen night dance.
Hey, young teenager, here's a band of old guys that you don't like.
They had tickets to the Beach Boys, and somehow we put in raffle tickets. I don't know, and I won tickets to the Beach Boys.
And you went.
And I went.
Yeah. That's all. That's like you had nothing to do, though. I mean, this is why I say I make a distinction about your first concert.
I wouldn't have chose the Beach Boys to be my first concert.
So yeah, you get dragged to a concert, you just fall into it because they're playing at the carnival where you are. Those don't count as your first. Like, what was the first concert that you went? You bought tickets, you wanted to go, you were excited about? That's what I'm interested in.
Man. Oh God, I don't know. Like I can think of a lot of them when I first started going that I went to, but I can't. But
you don't remember your first one.
After the Beach Boys, I don't, because it was like that kind of opened Pandora's box. Like I had to get my grandparents, because I lived with my grandparents back then. I had to get them to okay me to go. And then once I went, like then I could go to anything. Because I was like, oh, I went to a Beach Boys concert. I made it home, you know.
Adam Reyna, my first concert sucked. It was REO Speedwagon. No, you suck, Adam Reyna. You're one of those people exactly who I was describing who somehow put some form of self-worth into the kind of music that you like. Like it means anything.
Well, you don't like REO?
I love REO Speedwagon. In fact, last night I watched a behind the mute. So my first concert was Duran Duran. So last night I watched two. I stumbled onto, and this was after the Pillow Talk show. I was all jazzed up, it's musically inspired because of John Hinckley. So I went on YouTube and I did the behind the music thing. Remember the behind the music show on VH1 that used to run in the 90s?
I do.
There were like little 1 hour bios on each band. I watched Styx behind the music, another awesome band, and then I rolled right into REO Speedwagon because it was the next one.
But saying that a concert sucked, I don't know that it means that necessarily you think that the group sucked. But I do remember going to some concerts and I was like, wow, they don't sound anything like they sounded on the radio.
He's right. I just jumped on that because I saw an opportunity to talk about how I watched the REO Speedwagon bio last night. So that's why. But no, you're right. REO Speedwagon in 1989, they were all drunk and terrible. Yeah, so the concert probably did suck, but they do not suck. He says, because they're garbage. Keep on rolling on these nuts. Shut up, you stupid little millennial who has no taste in music. I was being apologetic. Now, fuck you, Adam Reyna. You don't know dick about music. Go talk about some band nobody's ever heard of and you and three nerds love. Go to hell.
Wow. I just remember going to some concerts. I know you all get along fine. I just remember going to some concerts and I was like, man, they're really not as good live as they are on the radio. And I think that I would classify that as maybe a concert I didn't like that much.
Yeah.
And then there were bands that I saw live that I wasn't all that excited to, I kind of went for, maybe other kids were going or girlfriend wanted to go or something like that. And then I went and I was like, wow, that was really a good show. I didn't have any idea. Or we would get tickets, when we were on the radio to a show or two. Like there were comedians a lot of times, that we'd get from the Improv, and I'm like, I'm not going to go see that guy. And then I would go and I'm like, oh, it's pretty funny.
I enjoyed it. Free tickets, man. Free is key. If you can go, I saw when I was working at Q101 in Chicago as a producer, and it was like the height of the alternative rock explosion. It was the alternative music format was brand new. We're talking about the mid to 90s, whenever it was. And I used to have to go to like every concert. And I used to hate, there were a couple of bands that there were bands that I liked, but I had to go to like the Metro in Chicago was a club that had like a deal with us. So it was always like, well, you should go because this person's going to be there. And I was a producer, right? So I had to like constantly be glad handing with people. The list of bands that I saw live in concert in tiny little clubs that I didn't pay any attention to is stunning, dude. It's like I saw Pearl Jam in like a 50-seat bar. And
wow.
I didn't even watch the show because I was just hanging out at the bar with somebody going, yeah, this is some band from Seattle. They say they're going to be good. I don't know. They sound like shit to me. Hey, can I get another one over here? You know what I mean? It's like, but the list of bands, there is I've seen almost everybody just because of that era. And I wish I honestly now as an older person, I wish that I had been cognizant of what I was seeing. But in the moment, you're not. And in your 20s, you're a dumbass. You don't have any perspective on life. But
I remember it seems like there's a whole bunch of them that just run in like when I was in high school, because that's kind of when it started, like maybe last year, 8th grade, maybe, but like just a whole bunch of them. I can't really decipher which one came before which one, but I know a bunch of them that I went to in high school, like Seeger, Ted Nugent, like Styx.
Yeah, those are all good ones, man. Styx
Boston.
So awesome. I never saw Styx. I love to see Styx. Oh, Styx was so cool. Styx was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Trying to think of some other ones. I saw the Rolling Stones in Buffalo.
What's the Styx song that is just such a bad? Oh, Renegade. Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life for the law.
Yeah, I remember that one. Everybody would say there's somebody that actually got murdered on that song. If you listen right here, you hear the scream in the background.
Boom, boom, boom. Hangman is coming down, and then it goes into the gig is up. That was very Nickelback. Starts out really slow and then just goes kind of crazy and starts rocking. God, I love Styx. Oh, you know who else I love? Little round of applause for my girl, Proud. Saying Leslie McDaniel up there fronting that Pat Benatar was like the first, I think it was album that she bought or something like that. I don't know. Couldn't find it. Pat Benatar is another one I'm going to add to that list. Pat Benatar still has songs that are bangers 40 years later. That one that was the video where they were fighter pilots. I don't even know what the name of the song. We're running with the shadows of the night. That
look
song
at
is
you
a
go.
cranker, man. Rob Barr, Styx is from Frankfurt. No, they're not, Rob. They're from Roseland. They're not from Frankfurt. Dennis DeYoung lives in Frankfurt. Styx. And he's not even in Styx anymore. Rob's my boy who lives in Frankfurt. That's why he's saying that. Okay, yes, I've been out at Styx is a South Side of Chicago band. That's part of the reason why I love them. But they're fun. They're just fun, man. Tomo arigato, Mr. Roboto. By the way, if you want to watch one of the funniest behind the musics ever, go to YouTube and just pull up VH1 Behind the Music Styx. It's hysterical because it's like it's a bunch of burnout stoner dudes in a band with like the captain of the drama team. It's like the lead singer Dennis DeYoung had like nothing in common with the rest of the guys in the band. Like Tommy Shaw and JY and the Panazzo brothers. These were guys that wanted to do like Nugent stuff, you know, they like wanted to do rock, but they had Dennis DeYoung, who was a showman. Oh no, it's you, babe. And then they show like the rest of the guys in the band while that song's being played, and they're rolling their eyes. And they're like, Tommy Shaw's great quote is, "We were one of the biggest bands in the world." And then this guy comes in with that song. And I'm like, do we really need Barry Manilow's audience? Yeah. Yeah. And, but here's the reason why that was a problem for the band Styx. Because, yeah, they were a big band and they had a bunch of like rock hits and all that kind of stuff. But the songs that made them money were the gay ass, waltzy, silly, you know, weak.
Theatrical.
Yeah, like the songs that made them money were "Come Sail Away," "Come Sail," or "You My Lady." You know, like those ones that the rockers in the band just hated. So they were like, "Damn it, this guy makes us so much money, but I hate playing these songs."
Right.
So then, what did Tommy Shaw do? He walked out of the band and he formed a band with Ted Nugent, Damn Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
And then what did they do? They wrote a ballad. That was their big hit. So you, Tommy Shaw, you're full of shit. All right, that's going to be the show for today.
Fox is scrambling as we leave. They've went so in the last minute. They've showed a reporter in front of Brian Laundrie's house. They're now in New York with the reporter in Blue Point, New York, which is where Gabby Petito is from. And prior to that, they were showing 4x4 in the Carlton Reserve.
I'm seeing a drone
and
shot.
And the dog may have found the pool guy. Uh-oh. Hold on. Is pool guy out there? Let me look.
Okay, it looks like he's locked off, though. The dog is currently at the sliding glass window, so you might want to grab him. All right, we're going to end the show here. Leslie McDaniel says they always reminded me of the Little River Band. I don't know who you're talking about. I mean, I know the Little River. If you're talking about Styx, I would say cool, because the Little River Band is also awesome. You just go pull up Little River Band on Spotify. You're going to hear a bunch of songs that are going to make you smile. Stop being cool about your music. Oh, if I admit that I like that song, people are going to think I'm not quite as cool as I am. Dude, you're not cool to begin with. Stop it. You know what's cool? Just going with your heart. Just loving what you love and being proud and loud about it. I like the Little River Band. I got no shame in my game. Styx I like. Look, here's the thing about music. we're not musicians. We're just fans. We're just listeners. You know, I have musician friends who appreciate bands for reasons like chord progressions and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And that's great. But that's not what I appreciate music for. What I appreciate music for at this stage of my life is for sentimental attachment. There might be a song that when I was 12 years old, I never gave a second listen to. But now at 45, I hear that song and it immediately takes me back to a time and a place where that song was the soundtrack. And maybe I didn't like it then, but I like it now. So be cool. Just admit that music is, you know, just depends on the individual. Yeah, it sounds like you got that handled.
Oh, boy. I was really nervous.
Yeah, well, I could see her. I opened the window here and I could see her at the back glass. So
I saw the guy in the back in the pool, and poor guy, he's deaf and mute. And I was like, if she goes out, he's not going to hear her.
I was an eyewitness to that happening once already. All right, that's going to be the show for today. We'll come back tonight for Pillow Talk. That's the 10 o'clock show. We appreciate all you people stinging with us. I'm still thinking about music. How we end each and every show with the anthem for the ages. America's favorite failed presidential assassin, John Hinckley, and his soon-to-be hit single, Roses and Lace. Bye, everybody. Have a good day.